Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by A Plain Truth, Mark Doxey, Arwin, Sleeping Warrior, and Ranty. How are you all doing?
Hello.
All doing good.
Also,
Hong Kong.
Yeah. I'm not in my truck, so that's why I didn't blow the horn.
I was doing it for you.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So,
Good stuff.
housekeeping, Nate.
Yeah, any signs of curvature, anybody?
Slice Barcane reckons he's got curvature in my evidence. He's been challenged to address his nonsense, spurious claims. So far, nothing.
Is that negative then, in that regard?
I found R though.
You found R? Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Where did you find R?
Yeah.
In Toys R
I'll
Us.
give you a hint. 18.
It's after
18.
Q.
I missed that,
18.
Arwin. Say it
Is
again.
that restricted for 18-year-olds?
That's a good one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
R-rated
18.
certificate. Yeah, indeedy. So yeah, but any
Right.
scientific evidence of the R value used in the spherical equations? Anybody?
No, only alphabetical evidence.
Was Brenda
Yeah.
passed off a picture from space as scientific evidence yesterday?
You did?
He was.
Yes, and it was pin sharp and clinically perfect from 1968.
How
Amazing.
embarrassing. Passing off a photo from space as scientific evidence of R. I don't think she understands what the word scientific evidence means.
I don't know how they got the film back down to earth either.
She doesn't understand words.
Oxy in chat says Aristophanes 2200 years ago proved R, probably by putting sticks in the ground, right?
Can you
Right.
imagine if a flat earther put a couple of sticks in the ground and declared the earth was flat?
We should try that.
Yeah. I think Math's
It
already
is
beaten you
embarrassing.
to it. Math Powerland did exactly that with a couple of mic stands and a stage light. So yeah, nothing new under the sun. It's beating you to it.
Damn it. More housekeeping.
Any signs of a pressurized system next to a vacuum? Anybody?
Oh, Oxy, the scientific method only existed 200 years ago. Okay, so Aristophanes basically philosophically proved R 2200 years ago. That's interesting.
He begged the question, though, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. It was based on a presupposition that the Earth
Or
was
when
spherical.
philosophy comes along,
Yeah, he already believed that the earth
That's-
was a sphere, so he stuck sticks in the ground to prove it.
Right.
yeah, but when you prove something philosophically, then that is part of begging the question by definition.
Yeah, you could
Because
say that, I
it's
suppose.
philosophy.
Right, if you start by
And-
assuming
and-
your outcome. Some people even claim that to be science, Arwin, believe it or not.
I guess so.
Okay, Nathan, about the model. You could present a model as a presupposition and then prove it mathematically, or you could try and put an idea to somebody and they don't get what you're saying, so you present them with the model to clarify it. Do you get what I'm saying? There's two flavors to the model, isn't there?
Well, it's a conceptualization of an idea. So you can start with philosophizing it, and then you can conceptualize it, and then you can model it.
Yeah, you can have the idea and model it, or you can try and tell somebody about the idea and they don't get it, so you present them with a model to clarify the idea. It's not proof. It's still that circular reasoning, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we should just call it spherical reasoning.
Okay, that's unfortunate, isn't it? It's circular reasoning or spherical reasoning. I've had so much response to my video that I posted, and everybody's sort of throwing these models at me, and they presume that I know that I already believe in a particular model, and then they try as a straw man to break it down.
Yeah, of course. You'll find that you're expected to be an expert now in every single field ever because you declare that the Earth might not be a sphere.
Well, you got to shut them down at the earliest possible point rather than getting bogged down with so many different avenues that they try and take you into. The new character has appeared, but I think you, Anthony, have referred to him a Flat Earth Math. Have you referred to him before?
Yeah, he's not new.
He's not new to you. He's new to me.
He's a teacher that tells all his kids that we live on a little spinning ball.
Just because it's an interesting word that you used, new. Sorry to hijack your point, Mark, but in terms of, I often ask people how long they've been around or how long they've been experiencing this little corner of the internet, and the two longest standing people in the corner of Flat Earth are Math Powerland and Charles.
Well,
okay.
Flat Earth Math.
Yeah, for personal reasons, I've had to delay coming out as a flat earther. It's all very comical, but I've decided to take the plunge and make my first video. And all these guys that I've heard you guys mention have suddenly appeared and started to correspond with me. So it's a big, fast learning curve.
just stay on topic. Stay on topic. They can't prove axial rotation. They can't prove gravity. They can't prove curve. Anything beyond that is moot.
Yeah, you're quite right. Stay on topic. Don't let them sidetrack you or throw in any straw man arguments.
Oh, it's shark-infested waters, all right. You'll probably find that in a few days you'll have 2 or 3 videos made about you. That's their typical MO. And they'll try and bog you down with arguing back and forth with them. Essentially, that's what happened to me, and I fell for it. Anthony said, don't do it, but I did. So that took up about a month of my time. And then even now, it's still, you still want to respond to these people. But I think, like Anthony's saying here, is the best thing to do is to try and ignore them and stay on topic.
Or if you must interact with them, before you type any letters in the response button, just click on their profile, see how many subs they don't have. And usually they've all got 1, maybe 0.
Yeah.
If they've got more than 10, then they're worth discussing it with because they're obviously somewhat more than. Well,
yes, you're quite right. If they're hiding behind a pseudonym and they don't have any videos on their channel, then they're not worth engaging with.
Yeah, that's the one. Not having any videos, because there are also some. I think that the fake sock trolls out there are also networking and basically subscribing to each other's fake account, because there are some 0 video troll accounts that do have like 3 up to 60 subscribers, sometimes even more, and have no videos at all.
Yeah,
that are trolling. So they're finding new ways to deceive us.
I think they do it for entertainment as well, though.
Of course they do.
Well, some of these people are unstable. That's what you've got to realise.
The most disingenuous people that I've ever met, the trolls on Ball Earth side. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they all think that they're right. It's like, I actually realise that half of them don't actually think that all aspects of it are right, but they don't go against it, because if they don't push the official narrative, they'll be seen as someone that's weak, and they'll be ostracised by their own group and then kicked out, essentially. But they'll never ever change sides, ever. We're never going to get any of them to concede any point of it. They'll just all say, well, I don't necessarily agree with 9/11, for instance. Well, you have to accept 9/11. It's come from the official state. It's the official story.
Well, trolls are swamp creatures, and they're basically there to bog us down. So if they will bog down the Globers, when they're actually arguing amongst themselves and forming individual contrasting opinions, they will troll them as well. So they're getting in everyone's way. They're getting in everyone's way of developing insights. That's what the trolls do. So I don't think they're on any side really when it comes down to it. Also, another important fact is to realize that there usually huge swaths of these trolls are just one person.
Yeah.
So there are not actually that many trolls out there. There are probably a lot, but not as much as they seem to be.
That's the exact reason why they say don't feed the trolls.
Yeah.
Silence. Silence.
Well, there is no real debate, is there? I mean, there is no evidence of axial rotation, curvature, gravity. How can you discuss something without any evidence?
think that
It's
concludes
just
the
arguing over
housekeeping.
theory.
Well, there is something out there, at least relating to gravity, the downward acceleration force, and that is this rule. Hey, I can call it whatever I like.
No, you
Humpty
can't.
Dumpty, I can do it.
No,
So,
you can't. You
yeah, I
can't.
can.
You're
No,
not-
go
do it.
away. Go away. I'm
You're
gonna
not
call it
allowed.
Here
gravity
we
if I
go, getting
like.
trolled while you
You
guys.
can't be trusted to do it.
Hey, no globe. Hey, Mark.
Hello, Globe. No Globe.
But anyway, there is this hint, or perhaps a rumor, this myth, I don't know, maybe it is really real, that some globers like to bring forward, that there is a variation in the weight depending on the latitude. And that is just a very interesting thing. And I would like to see that disproven or proven from multiple more reliable sources, not just a bunch of globers or their sources, and just see if there is anything to it. And then we have something to explore. We have something new to figure out what is going on here. And then, yeah, they will love to latch on with all their globe physics and their theoretical gravitational pull. But hey, if there is a difference in weight due to latitude, then that is something that is there and should be explored, in my opinion. Like, why? What is causing this?
There is a rate of change in air pressure every day, though, Owen, isn't there? At the moment, we
That
have.
could be, if it is purely due to air pressure, then that could be tested.
Yes. Correct.
And I would love to see that happen. So,
What do you think about Eric Dubé's last video?
Awful. Absolutely
which
awful.
one? I haven't looked at him for a while.
Me neither.
He has
What
a
was it
go
about?
at the main players in the flat Earth.
God.
All he ever does. He adds nothing to the discussion anymore.
What was
Thanks
he?
for
What
the
was his
original
last video
video,
about
but-
then? What was it about? I haven't seen it.
He has a go at all the main players, Patricia and Mark Sargent. You got a miss this time, but I'm sure he's got one for
Oh, I
you.
didn't get an advert out of it. Bastard.
That means you fell out of importance,
Did he
Nate.
mention me? Did he mention me?
I was hoping he was going to mention Nathan.
Well, do you know something? He talked about, he mentioned the word co-opted within the first 10 minutes, right? Which I find is a very unique word to be using, to be fair. And you don't hear it that often, but it is something that's been used on this channel quite a lot recently. So he used that term, and he also talked about smashing the super chat. So I don't know whether he's watching or listening, but he didn't. But that's, I think, the only credit he kind of gave to you.
Well, like all these big cult leaders out there, they have their minions just keeping track of everything for them. So
Yeah,
they
he
just
just
send out their scouts to scout
Hello?
ahead.
Hello.
Just a minute, mate.
Can you hear us?
Martin Dust.
Hello?
He's not here anymore.
Oh, it's dropped already. Weird.
Okay.
If Eric is listening, just a message to him: just stop the nonsense. We're all batting for the same team.
Well, that's not true, though.
Oh, okay.
But
Like-
that is part of his. But that is part of his shtick. It's part of his crowd. They like it.
Yeah.
His crowd likes it when he bashes people, when he bashes the rest, because that's why they came to him.
But it becomes
Well,
all sectarian, doesn't it?
A what?
Sectarian. You know, I belong to
Yeah.
the Dubé version, or I belong to the Mark Sargent version. It's
Well,
not
he
necessarily.
started that. Eric Dubé practically started that.
He
He
did.
started the division tactics within the flat Earth movement pretty early on
Yeah.
by instantly banning Mark Sargent as soon as he tried to get on his side and just have a conversation, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, division is his stick.
But when you break it down, Eric Dubé has got a lot of really good argumentation and a lot of opinions that I would agree with. Just stop throwing arrows or stones at
Really?
your
But
fellow.
that's how he stays relevant.
But do you think really? Because what I've perceived so far is that he's mainly just using one literary source and repeating everything, just blank copy paste from that source, even the parts about it that are just ridiculously outdated and purely speculative. I think that's what he's been doing mostly, and improving his reading, like his recording and reading skills, because he is he reads from his texts on his videos very well. It's very well spoken. He taught himself to do that very well. So it's very interesting to listen to his videos. It's very soothing in a way. But like, how much has his actual flat earth insights developed over these last years?
It hasn't.
Not a lot.
He did that one video that everyone's seen, and then after that, he's not relevant.
Yeah.
What, the 200 proofs?
Yeah, but where did he get that? That's a
The
pretty
Atlantic
old book.
Conspiracy book.
Hey, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
No, speak up, Josh. You're muted.
Hi,
May not
Josh.
be Josh.
Okay, goodbye,
Well,
Josh.
Perhaps Nathan, you could share me my
Yeah,
screen.
sure.
And Anthony, would you like to help me out with this from Slice Barcane?
Not really. The guy's a disingenuous piece of shit.
Let's analyze it. Go ahead.
This was his comment. Essentially, these two, this photography was taken from the same spot, within a few feet. But essentially, again, I was down to about a foot in elevation. The tide height on, well, the swell on this day, on this side, was about 2 feet. And the swell on this side, as you can see, is maybe a couple of inches, if that, you know. So we're looking at the same post that's in the water, right? And we're trying to look across at Barrow. Now, I cannot see Barrow. And behind this post on this day, from the same 1 foot elevation, we have the lighthouse, which is substantial in height. It's about 70 feet high. And when you compare it to the other image, if I was trying to see the lighthouse on this day under these conditions with a 2 foot waves, the waves in the foreground are drowning out everything behind. I cannot see the lighthouse. If I was trying to see it, I couldn't see it. They even went higher than this. They went up to the top of the post. So his argument is this. So this is his comment. So this means that all objects when viewed across water are not being instructed by the curvature of Earth, but rather by a stationary tsunami, which changes the height depending on how far away the other object is. Of course, you can evidence of the you have evidence of this big, stationary, distant, dependent, and intelligent bulge of water, right? Well, yes, we do. This is the distant, dependent, intelligent bulge of water right here, which is just a 2 foot swell in the foreground, blocking out the lighthouse in the background.
Yeah, the answer to both them questions is yes, and it doesn't really need to go any further than that. It's not your fault if he doesn't understand it. It's not your fault if he can't articulate himself in a way that matches the reality. Fundamentally, all curve, well, all obstruction appears to be curvature on their model. Any obstruction whatsoever, it's curve. And I'm surprised he didn't come up with something similar on that phrase, because that is what he adopts to. Any obstruction, he thinks it's curve. But he also thinks that the horizon or the water level rose on that bride footage from the north of Isle of Man. And the guy's a moron. He's a disingenuous piece of shit. And anybody that worships Sly Sparkane in any way is also a sheep-following moron that can't think for themselves.
The choice of the word tsunami as well is disingenuous, isn't it?
Yeah, because he's implying that this wave is essentially like this wave here, which it was kind of my picture that I put forth for my video when I did it from the same rock. And of course, this is just the image of the wave is just a screenshot of one of those waves, and I've kind of edited it slightly to make it look like it's covering over the whole of Barrow. Well, it's an ironic piece, it's an ironic image, because essentially that is what's happening. When you have a 2-foot wave in the foreground, it can drop out and block out all the buildings, high buildings, 100 feet, 200 feet buildings in the distance.
I think the best way to describe it, Ranty, in one sentence is what I said the other day. Objects in the distance appear to be smaller than they actually are.
Yeah, well, that's true, because when you're looking at the wave in the foreground that's 2 feet, you're trying to see an object in the distance that's 200 feet high, but perspectively, it's maybe in your eye line, maybe only 1.5 feet high. Pixels wise.
Takes us back to the curve calcs. Oh, get rid of that one.
Got him.
Let me just pull up my screen as well. I did have it open a minute ago, but I lost it temporarily. Takes us back to the perspective calculator. The curve calculator that's not got any perspective in it.
Josh?
Hello?
Speak up.
Hello, Josh.
Yes.
Hello? Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good. Thank you. Don't keep me. Thank you.
Good man, Josh.
Hello. Good evening for me. It's like 11 at night.
So what nonsense are you going to tell us today then, Josh?
Hi.
I was actually just...
I'm just going to make a drink.
Good idea, Dawn. Good idea. I was actually just going to tell you that, and just wondering your opinions on it. Did you guys know that there is no such thing as a circle or a sphere?
What?
There's no such thing.
Right.
Okay.
So Joshua is telling us that there's no such thing as a sphere.
They are mathematical concepts. There is no such thing.
They are geometric concepts.
Geometric, mathematical, either way.
No, mathematical is purely abstract. They are geometric.
No, but
with
like
spatiality. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Like,
yes, it does.
So are we
even
going
if you take
Mathematical is abstract. Geometric is spatial.
So what's your
Let-
point,
let
Josh?
Josh-
What's your
Let,
point?
let Josh make his conclusion.
Okay, my conclusion, thank you, is that after, okay, say we go on for this R value for months and months and months, and we finally get there, and someone has done some experiments, and they prove that the Earth, like the R value, is 6,370 kilometers. That's only going to be correct for that one moment in that one spot.
Really?
Like R changes, because in reality, there's no such thing. Nothing is perfect. And I wonder if you guys understand that or know that.
So you ascribe to the wobbly Earth theory?
It's very vague what you're saying, Josh. Can you clarify it?
I think I can clarify it. Like even when we think about an orbit, like the moon's orbit around the Earth and rah, it's not a perfect circle. Nothing is a perfect circle. Nothing is a perfect sphere. And that I think you guys need to at least know that.
I'd have to
And I.
So what?
The World Cup doesn't stand a chance if there's no spherical ball to kick, is there?
I think that the globe of the heavens, as it is
I still don't
spinning
get your
over
point,
us,
though.
is pretty much a perfect sphere.
Still don't get your point.
My point is, guys, is that what I'm doing is actually I'm kicking this about like 3, 4, 5 months into the future, where someone does just come to you with evidence for R, and all you do is turn around and say, well, that's not the R that I've seen on Wikipedia. And what I'm trying to do is just
in the future.
Any R will do. It just has to be scientific evidence.
Right.
So you're saying in the future they have R, but they won't have R right now?
No, there is an R right now, but what I'm trying to say is there's no such thing as R, because there's no such thing as a perfect circle, and there's no such
there
thing
is
as
R,
a
but there
perfect
is
sphere.
no such thing as R. This is very mystical.
You do realise that
But
you're in a semantic discussion about a moot point.
Yeah.
There's
no, I don't think so. Because, like I said, what I'm trying to do is get in front of what you guys will say in the future once R is determined.
Right, in the future, when R is determined, given the fact that we've had 2,000 years of an assertion of this value, backed with absolutely no scientific evidence whatsoever, it doesn't really fuss me what people will tell us going forward. I'll just point out that up until now, apparently we have trajectories being planned around the spherical Earth based on this presuppositional, made up, assumed value of R.
Right, that's how they got to the moon.
Yeah.
That's
an assumed value
100% how they got to the moon and how they're planning to go to Mars. Aren't you guys a little bit interested?
So it is accurate. So it is accurate then.
Did you guys see recently that the Mars rover has found some like histories of organic life on Mars?
Don't let him get away with this.
Then, because you made these elaborate statement that it's not really stable, that it's not really perfectly defined. So now, yeah, since in the past all these space missions have been done using this very much set value of R to calculate everything perfectly, which is essential for the careful planning of all the orbits and the launches and all that. So is it set or is it not set? Which one is it?
What I'm saying, Arwen, and hi, Arwen, hi. We've spoken before. Hi, how are you doing and stuff? My first point is that I'd like you guys to just at least agree that a sphere and a circle, they're mathematical geometric concepts. So, there is no such thing in nature as a perfect circle or a perfect sphere.
So why do they use it then in their calculations for these very precise orbits and trajectories and all that? Well, why do they use it in such detail?
To be honest,
because it's approximations. It's like it's.
Oh really? So these very meticulous, careful planning of trajectories, it's just like wet finger work in the middle of space in a vacuum where
stick a man in a tin can, give him an estimation mathematically based on an assumption, and it'll probably work out. It's just an estimate, right? Like an Irishman giving you a quote for a roof. That's how NASA work, is it?
Do you, Nathan? Hi, how you doing? Do you think that ever existed in nature a perfect circle?
It makes no difference. We're talking about whether or not the Earth's a sphere, and if the Earth's a sphere, it has a radius value. It has a radius value that you use. It's just not backed by any scientific evidence.
There's nowhere in nature where water curves.
And by the way, yeah, in nature there are perfect spheres. There are perfect circles. You know what it is? You take a magnet, and then the pattern of the magnetism around it, it is perfectly circular.
And I could show you some naturally formed spherical stones that are abundant all over the Earth. There are thousands of them. So this.
Thank you, Riley. Please show them. But they're not perfect spheres, are they? They're spherical, and you said it yourself in that sentence.
So what?
Yeah, but magnetic
this
fields
is a moot
are
point. So what? This isn't a maths debate. Hold on. This isn't a maths debate. This is a debate about the shape of the Earth. So whether or not you have perfect spheres is irrelevant. Whether or not the Earth can be proved to be spherical is absolutely relevant, and you already use a fixed value for R. So who cares? It's totally moot.
I agree. Where are we going with this?
What I'm saying is, I'm sure you guys haven't picked up on this yet, but what I'm doing is I'm projecting months into the future, maybe even years into the future, whereas a value of R is given, and you can say, oh, well, that's not the R that I've read on Wikipedia, so it's not R.
Yeah,
So
so
what?
how could
It's
have
already
that?
in
How could
use.
have all of these space missions have worked
Already
out
in
using the
use.
wrong value of R then?
Yeah, it's already been used, Josh. We've already got a value. It's already being used regardless of what you tossers present to us here. It's already in use. It's already established. It's already set in stone by you guys who assert the Earth's a sphere. So me and my understanding mathematically of whether or not we have perfect spheres is irrelevant. That's the first point. The second is you have a value of R that you do use. You have a standard model, right? That's where you get your R for your spherical Earth from.
And NASA.
So,
uses it.
Nathan, even regardless of your mathematical thinking about it, just your reasonable man thinking about it, do you think there could ever be a perfect circle?
Who cares?
It's a bunch of obfuscation.
Means
Why don't
nothing
you
in regards to
respond
Earth
to the
shape, doesn't
statement?
it? It's like me saying, do you think you could ever have something that is absolutely 100% perfectly flat? Well, who cares? It means nothing.
But I think that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that you guys are asking for an absolute value, and there's no.
You've already got one. You're not listening, Josh. Josh, you're not listening. You're not listening. You've already got a value for R. Yeah? Every single time anybody explains how the stars, like yesterday, you get some dumbasses that don't realise that you need an R value for all this crap, and you've already got one.
I just don't get why we're even having a conversation at this point.
What would you like to do, Riley? Would you rather look at long-distance photos for the next hour and a half?
I'd like you to present some evidence of R, or maybe you could tell us how somebody measured the distance to the sun.
I'm pretty sure, Riley, that you know that I'm Australian and I live in the Southern Hemisphere, and I see a completely different set of stars from you, and they spin in a different way from me to you.
Yeah, that's because you're looking south when you're doing it. Try looking north and then they spin the same way.
Have you got any scientific proof of flat Earth, guys?
Yeah, long distance observation at minimal.
Well, Nathan says observations aren't science, so they don't count, I'm afraid.
No, but it is evidence.
No.
Evidence, yeah. I asked for proof. Scientific proof.
We're not trying to prove that the Earth's flat.
Right, let's
I'd
just
actually
point out
like to
something
back
to Dawn.
up Dawn on that one. Last night was a very funny debate.
Josh,
because
hold
you,
on a second.
You,
Let me just get
kicked
Josh.
Brenda off because she
Josh,
showed you
we've
a
had
photo,
enough of your
and
nonsense.
then
Josh,
you just
shut your
started showing
mouth.
photos.
Josh, we've heard enough nonsense from you. Now we're on to Dawn's nonsense. Right,
Yay.
Dawn, number one. How much does science back the assertion that the Earth is flat?
I asked you if you have scientific proof. Have you got it?
Now I'm asking, have I ever asserted that I or any flat earther ever in history ever is backed by science?
Evidence.
So you don't have any scientific proof.
Right. So who is it that has introduced this word? Hold on, I'm just trying to ask Dawn. Who is it that claims that science is behind their assertions, Dawn?
Sorry?
Who asserts... Let me give you a clue. I'll give you a hint. Who asserts that the whole body of science is behind their assertion, Dawn?
So you've got no scientific proof of flat?
No, I am saying we're not backed by science. Yeah?
I didn't expect you to.
It's like saying, have you got any toothpaste made by this certain manufacturer? Well, we don't stock it. Oh, well, you don't stock it. Yeah, we're not backed by science, Dawn. So where am I going to get this science from? Where am I going to get my science from? Do you understand the problem we're having? Your standard is that you are backed by science. That's not my standard. I would assert that it's obviously flat. You've just got to look at it.
No flat earther has developed any science either.
Right, but we don't need any. Your science, right, that we assess in these debates is the same as ours. We take the same measurements of everything. The
I only took a
only
picture of some
difference...
obstruction, and that's enough.
Dawn,
3
why is
hours
it that
on-
when we get
online
to a
about
point like this, you just talk all over me? So, when we
apparently
take our
don't care how the
measurements...
sun works either.
When
No.
we take our measurements,
My
they're the same
perspective doesn't
measurements...
work with the sun.
Oh, so now you're going to do it, are you, Alan? What a total wanker. When we
Language.
take our measurements, we take the same measurements you do. The only difference is the presuppositional value of R
There's
inserted
some
by...
curve.
Oh, I see Alan doesn't like this point. One more time, Alan, you're gone. Right, so we take the same measurements as you do. The only difference in the calculation is an insertion of a presuppositional value of R. Other than that, we're doing the same exact stuff. You have to start with it being on a plane and then bend it with R. So we do the same as you with no presupposition. Same exact stuff. Do you get it, Dawn? There is no presupposition when we do it. The only presupposition is R.
Occam's razor. Our calculations are a lot more simple.
This is kind of what I was talking
And our
about.
assumptions are also a lot more simple.
How is that kind of like what you were talking about? You were talking
We
about
look at it, we see it, straight line of sight, it's there. That is our assumption.
Do that with the sun too.
You can
You
do
know,
that with
no
the
one's,
stars.
No one's
Owen.
acknowledged what Owen's just said. So we look out, we see stuff. That's end of explanation. Your explanation is that the world is bending around a presuppositional value of this R, yeah? And that stuff that you can see still is hidden by Earth curve but being lifted up by refraction so that it is holographically presented on the horizon perfectly. That's what you believe. You guys are nuts. We've got a very simplistic view of the world. You see it, it's there. That's it. Because it's flat.
Never a truer
Flat.
word said.
Simple. We see the lighthouse on screen right now. Now, you dickheads think that's a holographic fantasy. We don't really see it. This lighthouse, according to you Muppets, isn't really there. It's being
Where's the
blocked.
bottom of it?
Hold on, shut your mouths. It's being blocked by Earth curve and then holographically lifted up from beyond the curve. 700 feet below your feet, this lighthouse is in actuality, in your world of fantasy and nonsense. I just say we see it because it's there, and you all laugh. Well, there it is, in a photograph, we see it, and this is repeated. In a moment, this will go on to a second photo taken by a different person, on a different day, on a different camera. And it's still there, same position, but according to you, that's just yet another mad occurrence where hot, slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena has lifted it up from beyond your view. Well, no, you guys are all bonkers.
On the same
Hey,
token, you
Nathan,
guys-
what if it was actually clouds? If it actually wasn't just the ground and a lighthouse or
So sod all acknowledgement of what I've just said, you bloody hologram-believing, perspective-denying bunch of fantasists. So no acknowledgement of the lighthouse that shouldn't be there then?
I went
Just
to
going to
our
move on
college,
to the
don't
sun
tell
or
me
some
about
shit?
perspective, mate.
Anybody going to acknowledge what I've just said? Or you're all just going to
Perspective, mate,
blank
these
out
get
what
more,
I've just
that's
said
it.
to you?
That's all it
You
does.
all think the lighthouse
heard you
that's
were.
on screen now, let's just shut you all up. You all think this is a fantasy. It's not really there on this different picture from a different person on a different day. It just happens to be loomed up from beyond your vision in exactly the same proportions.
Oh,
Again.
nature's bearable. Wow.
You just believe we think it's a fantasy.
Well, what is it then? Can you see this or not? Because apparently there's an earth curve blocking our view of this lighthouse.
Well, I can see the sun too, and you guys don't know what
Oh,
that's...
so we are just going to ignore me and go on to the sun then. What a total wanker. Yeah, you've lost this argument, and I know it. I've held enough globehead dickheads to the fire with this lighthouse. The lighthouse that shouldn't be there.
You're
that
right,
you all
Jazza,
want to
there is
obfuscate and talk
curve.
over now.
There's no shoreline there.
Sorry, now we're going to go on to the shoreline. I was talking about the lighthouse. So we're going to have this little dance, are we? While we ignore collectively that there's a lighthouse in view on a picture on different days that is obscured from view by Earth curve that isn't there.
Wow.
You're all fantasists. You're all hologram-believing, perspective-denying fantasists with a religious belief based on a presupposition value of R. That's what you've got in your lives. It's pathetic. We don't have any presuppositions to answer this original question. Where's your scientific evidence of flat Earth? It's not necessary. It's obvious. No presuppositions required. You guys claim to be backed by science and have got a presuppositional value with no scientific evidence of it. And when I point it out, you can't but help talk all over me. You can't help yourselves.
Because you talk a lot.
Got a lot to say to dickheads that think that the lighthouse that isn't there is behind an Earth curve. I just think you're fantasists, and I will point that out to you. You don't have to like it. You can try and talk all over me constantly, but I'm going to get my point across to my audience, long-winded though it may be. You guys are fantasists and think the lighthouse isn't really there, because it physically can't be in your model world of fantasy and religion based on an R value. You think it's blocked by Earth curve. It isn't, it's just there because it's obviously and observably flat. You don't have to like it. You can fantasize about R and believe what the priests tell you if you choose to. Just makes you a fantasist and a perspective denier.
Says a man who takes his lead from a Christian fundamentalist.
I don't take my lead from anybody. I'm my own man. What I know implicitly is there is no scientific evidence for your ball religion.
Hey, Nathan, what would you think about clouds? So it's not on the ground. But
so still no acknowledgement of the lighthouse that you fantasists think is blocked by Earth curve then, Josh. When will one of you have the balls to either acknowledge that this lighthouse is there when we do see it, as opposed to it being blocked by Earth curve, which is what your model says it should be doing? None of you going to acknowledge this? We're just going to dance around to clouds and the sun and some insult from Alan? None of you got the balls to address this, you bunch of fantasists.
Nathan, that's a tiny little white spot.
Oh, so it's a smudge, is it? So it's not the lighthouse then? So you're saying it's not really the lighthouse that we've studied for about 30 to 40 episodes? It's not really the lighthouse, Josh?
It's probably a bit of fluff on Ranty's lens.
Yeah, just probably not really the lighthouse at all, right? Just deny it. Just deny reality. So you're not only fantasists and perspective deniers, yeah? You're also deniers of reality. So it's not really the lighthouse, it's a bit of fluff in the camera being repeated by two different people on two different days at two different times. No, that's just fluff on two cameras, is it, you absolute fantasist?
And that's actually another question I'd like to ask you,
Don't
Nathan,
ask me a question. Address the lighthouse that shouldn't be there, you absolute fantasist, perspective-denying idiot. I'm not going to move on to your point about clouds.
Sorry, that wasn't about clouds.
He does.
That was just why doesn't anyone try and take an observation at
all doing their own observations with their own camera? So he does. I don't know why
that wasn't what I said, Alan.
Because he does.
That wasn't what I said. I said, why do you think that the Earth curvature has to be proved once in one photo? Why don't you think that you can use two people?
Which one photo? Do we have one photo? No. We have thousands.
Why don't you think that two people can take a photo at the same time from different observations at the same? Why do you think it has to be resolved down to one single image?
Nobody said that.
I don't understand your question. It doesn't.
It's because he's making a straw man. He's just building a straw man for us. That's what he's doing.
1 minute.
We have thousands of pictures.
So you don't accept proof of a globe. You admit you've got no proof of flat Earth. So why are we here again?
There is no proof of a globe.
Sorry, that was the complete opposite. So there is obviously an observably flat Earth, and you insert a presupposition for globe.
Dawn.
Have you not listened to a word I've just said, Dawn? So it's obviously flat. We see stuff, but none of you have addressed the fact that according to your model it shouldn't be there. We've just brushed past that and then said, no, you don't accept globe. No. Your presuppositional value says that lighthouse shouldn't be there. For your world to be real, you have to accept it's not actually there.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is. You're just too stupid. You always were when you were here when we were debating about it, Dawn. Now we've got some other retard on the panel who says it's just fluff on two different people's camera. Yeah, that's the kind of idiocy we deal with you globeheads.
It's rubbish observation and no one cares.
Repeated observation, two different people, 2 different days, 2 different cameras.
No one cares.
Yeah, just the same looming hyena, is it?
Photos.
You nonsense fantasists. Nobody's addressing it. Yeah, shouldn't be there. It's not there. Physically can't be there. There's a wall of water in the way, right, Dawn? Do you remember this? Wall of water in the way?
Yeah.
180-foot wall of water that should be obscuring your view of the lighthouse. It's not there. It's looming up from beyond the curve, right? It's not actually there, but it is. That's because it's obviously and observably flat. The only time it's not flat is when you take the same measurements we use and insert a presuppositional value of R.
Can I ask you
Simple.
the question again? Do you believe in refraction at all, Nathan?
Yeah, refraction is real.
Okay.
Easily demonstratable. What I don't believe is there's an infinite number of Snell's law occurrences happening through the infinite densities changes that are occurring through a spherical Earth that's presupposed with a value of r, and then the refraction is double presupposed with a value of 7.6 r. So you've got a lot of presupposition when it comes to your standard atmospheric refraction, which is just nonsense built on nonsense built on nonsense.
I'm yet to see a real-world observation where the entirety of a building or a landmark or a mountain has been loomed up in full proportion. I'm waiting to see that evidence.
No, we've got that, Ranty. We've got that. That's my point. The lighthouse is exactly that. According to them, time after time when you go, if it's a clear enough day, you can see this lighthouse performing miracles. It's got a wall in the way, yet you can see it. These dickheads can't address it. No one's addressing it.
Trying to pull science apart by a blurry photo of a lighthouse.
So it's back to this. So that's your address. It's a blurry picture. This is the crap argument for your nonsensical model that doesn't match reality. That it's just too blurry. Yeah. How long are you going to dance around it? It's there.
Just
we see it.
Blurry doesn't mean that it's not there.
We see it. It's there. Simple.
I don't care about
but you fantasists say it's not there because your model says it's not there. So you have to say it's a hologram. It's looming. It's slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena lighthouse, right?
The model say it's there? How's the model say it's not there?
Because there's a bloody wall in the way. Yeah? Wake up. There's no way of seeing it. There's something obscuring your view.
You got it wrong. I think you got it wrong.
Oh, really? Well, you're a wanker. I think that's true.
Yeah, lighthouse.
Yeah, I know it's not there. The model says it's not there. Your model, your crap model, that proves nothing, begs the question, assumes R, and denies perspective, says there's a wall in the way.
The assumption's right, though.
What assumption? R?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Where's your scientific evidence for your assumption?
Don't need it. You've got plenty of
photos. Oh, right, you can just
space.
believe in it. Hail Mary, I'm a believer. R is real because we just decide to believe in it.
No, there's photos from space to show you it's around.
Really? That's scientific evidence? You're going to do a Brenda on us like yesterday and start claiming that scientific evidence is qualified by a picture? You're a muppet. You're as stupid as Brenda. Yeah? Shut your mouth, muppet.
Nathan, it doesn't matter. It's a picture. We can see it.
Yeah, right.
We
We can see the lighthouse. I've just pointed this out. You're going to say that a picture of space that's totally unverifiable by anybody is perfectly satisfactory, yet a picture of a lighthouse that's there, that physically should not be there on your model, that we can just dance around and move on to pictures that aren't validated or verified by anybody. Yeah, right? That what we're going to do?
They
Idiots.
are validated and verified.
So you deny the lighthouse that we see that is there, that's actually a hologram in your world of fantasy and balls, right? That's okay, but we can move on to space, can we? Something none of us have ever been to. Yeah, okay, whatever, dickhead.
It's a verified.
Actually, Nathan, Australia's about to launch a space program. So are they all in on it too?
You've got to tell them.
Australia's about to launch our space program. So we're all those people, they're in on it.
Not all of them.
He's got to prove that all the photos are fake. He's got to prove that they're all fake. He's got to prove He's got to prove.
How did they take the photo? Did they get out in a rocket?
All these lies are real.
Did they get out in a rocket?
How many lies are there?
Answer my question. Did they get out in a rocket to take these pictures, right?
So is there a meeting?
Just answer my question.
Go to a meeting and everyone gets told all at one time?
Josh, I've had enough of your Brandon nonsense for one day. Josh, I've had enough. I want to was his nonsense.
Guys.
Was.
Trying to ask something.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask was something. Did they go out and take this picture with a rocket ship, right?
Which picture?
Any picture from space of something in space.
The rocket ship. No, they took it with the camera.
Whoever the hell is, can you mute, please?
The rocket ship.
I bet that's Josh. Let's just hover my mouse and see if it's Josh making a shitload of background
Josh, you're
noise.
a bit windy, mate.
Of course it is.
Sorry.
Right, so your rocket that goes out to take pictures of stuff in space, you were going to present a picture from space. Presumably something's gone out and taken a picture of it, right? Right, so when it went out and launched from Earth, they would have planned a trajectory, correct?
Yeah.
And when they planned that trajectory, they would have used an R value, would they not?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So, that's why I ask for scientific evidence of R. Rather than having to disprove every single picture, I can disprove the medium that they sit in by disproving the very ground beneath our feet is bending because of a presuppositional value. It's nonsense mathematics that you insert to the same measurements we take when we look at something that's obviously there, like a lighthouse.
So you're trying to chop down the tree by poisoning the roots. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to come down a hill by climbing up a mountain or some other bullshit nonsense that makes no sense to any context of anything I've just said. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Chopping down a tree and poisoning the roots. Yeah.
No, by poisoning the roots.
Yeah. Just give me some other nonsense analogy that means nothing to try and defend this position that you hold about a lighthouse that we see, yet you claim in your bullshit model of presuppositional values of R isn't actually there. Yeah? We're still dancing around that, right? That's what you need.
Sorry, my dog needs to go to the toilet. Can I just go on mute for a sec?
You don't need my permission for your dog to piss.
That is the best bit of the show so far. Classic.
Yeah, most of, if not all, assertions made here will have R in them. If you're talking about sphere Earth, right?
Can we forget about R, please?
You can't forget about R, Dawn. That's why I'm ramming it down your neck repeatedly.
Let's just change the assumed R to another number and we'll carry on the conversation. Just for the
That's what I was trying to say before, Nathan. There's no such thing as R. You'll never get an accurate R. So stop it.
Oh, right. How do they plan these trajectories again, Josh? That we've just talked about with the other guy? Trajectories to get the pictures from space. They're not based on a... Dawn can't shut his mouth because he knows how damning this is. Yeah, really important value when you're planning space travel. Silence is beautiful.
Yes, R comes into space travel.
Does that mean, Nathan, you accept space travel?
No. I can just demolish it by proving you've got no scientific evidence of R that Dawn wants to forget about. And then laugh. And when you say, well, sticks in the ground, right? 2,000 years ago. That's when we established this shit.
No one can prove R to you, Nathan.
Yeah, no. That's why I keep pointing it out, though. It's fun.
No, but it's dying. You've done it.
Yeah, dying. Well, you still believe you're on a sphere, don't you, mate? So it's not that dead. Let's be honest.
Yep. That the R is not involved, though.
Yeah, it is involved. And I'm stamping on its head, Dawn, right in front of you while its eyeballs pop out of its head.
And you've done it over and over again.
Yeah, I'm going to keep doing it too. Till idiots like you understand that R is the basis of your religion.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's just not.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'm back. I think my dog...
Actually, Nathan, for me, it was the stars that turned me around to the sphere Earth model.
Oh, really? So
nothing to do with R,
the stars, Josh, do the stars turn? Or is it you turning on a sphere that causes them to appear to move?
So what was wrong with making a presupposition?
Hold on,
What's wrong with that
Josh said that the stars prove sphericity to him, so I'm asking him if it's the stars that turn or the sphere Earth he stands on that turns. Which one would it be, Josh?
So... Nathan, I'm sure.
You're going to answer my question, or are you just going to talk? Because I'm just going to talk over you till you answer my question. I'll just talk over you about the presuppositional sphere that you would be needing to stand on for those stars to be turning because of the sphere that you stand on. And when you accept the sphere that you stand on, I will point out that you need an R value, like I did with Dawn yesterday. But you might get there quicker. You might be less dense than him. We'll find out soon. Stay tuned, folks. Subscribe if you haven't already.
Mark turned into a little girl again.
So what's wrong with making a presupposition if it works?
I bet if you told her about
then if you can make it work mathematically, then that makes reality what you make it then, doesn't it? That makes it real, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it works.
Shame the world's flat. Pity it's obviously and observably flat from every vantage point.
Remember how it goes dark every night?
Pretty sure they call that nighttime. That's what I'm experiencing right now in Australia.
It's
nighttime.
wonderful.
What time is it for you guys?
I bet the sun went behind the horizon as well, didn't it?
Totally
behind
did.
what? Let's just do it with Dawn again. Let's see if he gets it this time. What would that be behind a curved horizon, Dawn? A curved spherical horizon. Need any R with that assertion, Dawn? Josh,
mate, you got to do something with your windy microphone.
I'll put my hand over it.
So if the If the sun's going behind the sphere Earth, Dawn, you'd need a bit of R with that, wouldn't you, mate?
Let's say it's a flat Earth and the sun goes
Just a
behind
little
the
bit of
flat Earth.
R. Just a little bit.
Do you believe the sun goes under the flat Earth?
No.
No, he doesn't believe it.
Let's forget the shape and let's just talk about the sun going behind the horizon.
Behind the horizon?
Yeah.
So behind the sphere-shaped horizon then, Dawn? You can't help it, can you?
We'll say it's flat. We'll say it's flat. The sun goes behind the flat horizon.
Well, it just disappear with perspective.
Show me a sun setting. An actually setting. Where it doesn't actually
You took a beautiful image the other week, didn't you, Randy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it merged into the horizon.
Probably pop up on screen.
Didn't go below it.
No,
Yes.
nothing went
So
below
did
it.
So did it go into the sea?
Did it go into
Like
the
in that
sea?
picture? Because yeah, you could see.
It went behind the horizon. That's the
No, it
deduction.
went
No, it
further
pretty much
away.
went in the
That's
horizon
the
there.
deduction from being alive 35 years and seeing it go dark every night, watching the sun set
Yeah, nice,
every
isn't it?
single night.
You've watched the sunset every night for 35 years.
Not every night, obviously, but every time the clouds aren't in the way.
Good
Yeah.
for you. Good for
Hey,
you.
Dawn, about what time did it rise in the day?
I'd say 6 a.m. maybe.
I wanted you to say dawn.
Oh, sorry.
So
Right.
show me a sun setting
That's such a dad joke.
where it actually drops
Yeah,
behind
dawn
the
treader.
horizon.
That's the ship that treads the water at dawn.
You
my
all need
phone
scientific
makes a
evidence of R.
presupposition that
Without it,
I'm
you've
driving.
just got a
We can
religious
wait.
belief.
We can wait till you
That's
bring
it
this
here.
proof.
That's the bottom line here. Without any scientific evidence of R, you've got nothing more than a religious belief.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It goes dark every night, Nathan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
doesn't
doesn't
prove
prove
anything.
anything
Behind
in
the
terms of
horizon.
sphericity,
No
does it?
proof of the shape of the Earth.
Unless
It
you want to
doesn't
join
prove a thing.
Arwen's hologram sun sinking into the sea of the optical slant mirror
Oh,
layer, then
talking of holograms, we still haven't. I forgot.
Oh, yeah,
Almost
what's
forgot
the
about the
sun's
holographic
behind
lighthouse
the planet?
that's in that picture that isn't really
Every
there.
Intangible. Intangible.
See if that can
Conundrum
trigger
here-
you guys to all talk
the only
over us.
The only conundrum here is that we have to prove it scientifically by Nathan's concept of
yeah.
science.
What, the scientific method, you mean?
that's always hard because he changes it each time.
There's a few.
No.
Depending on what people tell
No,
him.
not at all.
This
Observe a
is
phenomenon,
true.
formulate a hypothesis,
So where-
perform experiments.
I mean,
That's
we
it.
come back to
Where,
that old
Nathan?
boat.
Right now.
Assumptions don't count at all.
Simple
so
stuff. It never changes.
we
But
can't
right now, Nathan, for me and there's no sun here in Australia. There's no sun. So where is it?
Wow. So interesting.
Where is the sun?
The
Where
sun
is
is
the
not
sun?
there anywhere.
In the
This is
sky.
fire debate,
See
remember?
the
In the
daylight
sky?
You got
and its focal point from the
In the
direction
sky?
that the daylight is coming, appearing as a sun disk.
Thanks, Owen. I'd like to hear Nathan's answer to that, please.
It's nighttime right now. I cannot see the sun. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and there is zero sun.
Yeah.
Where
Fancy
is it?
that. I'm in UK and I can see the sun. It's bright.
You're out of the daylight. It's not
I
there.
still don't see what's wrong with presupposing an R if it works. We send rockets up into the sky using R, then we take photos showing R, then we come back down and there's R.
Photo showing R. Ooh.
Yep.
Hey, did you start
interesting.
after measuring the oceans and the horizon and the stars for years and years and years and years, centuries?
Measured
I
it.
think we-
Really? They
consensus
measured
of-
it.
of
Can
human
you show me
measurement
how
and
they
discovery.
measured it? Because I'm
I
pretty
think we
sure
should
it's
stick
been
on the
deduced.
sun.
Basically,
I think we should stick on the sun.
I'm pretty sure it's deduced based on mathematical assumptions.
At the beginning, yeah, before they.
So now they have measured it. Oh, can you show me that proof? Can you show me how they measured
If
it?
you're that interested, you go look for it.
Show me
They
the
got-
measurement. No. You're claiming
hey,
the one that's been
measured
measured.
it.
So
They-
can you
I'm
show
not
me
claiming,
this?
I'm telling
Yeah,
you how it happened.
They got a really long
Hey,
piece of
Arwen,
string.
is the sun up
That's
where
just
you
as-
are, Arwen? Is the sun up?
Yeah.
Is the sun's in the sky where you are? Well, it's not where I am.
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
Well, there's daylight here right now.
But it's not here.
Yeah.
So how do you explain that?
Well, there's cycles. There's
It's called distance.
cycle of day and night.
It's called distance.
No.
No.
Doesn't
Okay.
have- no. It's just
Okay,
there's a
Arwen, let's,
pattern of day and night over
The-
the Earth based
Can you
on the
expand on the
longitude
cycles?
and latitude.
What do you mean
Any
cycle?
other relations
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you have not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!